No survivors.
Oh, here we go.
I think we're on.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That's good to know.
Hello, everyone.
We are back. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back for another interesting episode of your favorite podcast, The Av Files. I'm your host, Av, and I'm joined, as always, by Daniel of Aries in the Nation.
Well, hello. Good to be back, man. Good to be back. Been a while. So
it's been a little bit. We have a little, stuff going on.
Well, summer's usually busy. Summer's usually very busy.
Yeah. Juggling two jobs is not fun.
No, and especially kids. I mean, don't juggle kids, but like kids, longer days, crazy schedules. You know what I mean?
If you do juggle kids, let me know how it turns out for you.
Hey, let us know your workout routine because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. Oh, so yeah. Today we actually will be talking about the real battle, LA.
What?
Not the one not the one with well, I guess it is technically like aliens attacking, but it was a real battle in LA.
Get out of here.
Definitely. It has also been known as the Great Los Angeles Ale Raid.
Ale? A-L-E? Ale raid?
No, Air Raid.
Air raid.
Air raid.
I was like,
Air raid.
Air raid.
Aaron.
Air raid.
Yeah. Did you ever see that?
Got it.
Aaron.
So, okay, got it. Not ale, not like the beverage, not like the alcoholic beverage.
No. So, so I don't know, man. To get my night started, I was thinking of either purple or green. Green probably doesn't show very well, but
oh no, it's like white, blindingly white, highly reflective, or purple.
I'm gonna go purple.
Purple, man. Purple drink.
Purple.
You get knocked down, but you get up again, man. It's never gonna keep you down, dude.
No.
It's the monster drink.
It's my go juice.
Yeah, there you go. I also have my poison, which is
T4.
Properly named.
Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
Yes. Oh, I will cheers you because it's rude. It's rude.
Oh. Yeah. No, so this event is shrouded in mystery and intrigue, and we'll try to figure out what really happened or didn't happen over the skies of Los Angeles that night and into the early morning and next day, and discuss any theories. And at this time, it has been almost about like 3 months since Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. The United States, throwing the United States into World War II. There was still definitely a lot of paranoia in the country. So on the 23rd of February, 1942, at 7:15 p.m., a Japanese submarine surfaced near Santa Barbara, California, and shelled an oil field in Goleta, and that's in LA.
Wow,
Goleta, right? So so this is obviously during World War II. This happened during World War II. It's 1942. So Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor. Everybody's on edge. A lot of stuff, a lot of fears were still going on. And then the submarine actually did. I looked it up. It's true. The submarine did attack, which I didn't know.
I didn't. I thought it was just Pearl Harbor. I just found out that there was a freaking war in Alaska, like a battle during that time. The U.S. and the Canadian forces had a battle in one of the Alaskan islands.
Really?
Never knew that.
Interesting. See, it's crazy. So yeah, so this Japanese sub goes over and bombs, or shot at this oil field. Mm-hmm. And although there was minimal damage and only $500 in property damage, around 10,000 today, with inflation, it would have been about 10,000 or so. No injuries, and the attack had a profound effect on the public imagination, as West Coast residents came to believe that the Japanese could storm their beaches at any moment. Supposedly, the Office of Naval Intelligence issued a warning that an attack on mainland California could be expected within the next 10 hours.
Whoa.
That's what they were saying.
Man, that's crazy. But if you think about it, this actually goes hand in hand to what I'm covering on the Rec Nation. Is like they had an they were one of the, I would say, one of the strongest navies at the time. Like Japan was legit, like beefed up with its navy, had a ton of ships that could have been a reality. It could have been. And the tensions, like you said, were super high. Everyone was paranoid. No one really knew what the F was going on. They just knew they attacked Pearl Harbor. And if they could attack Pearl Harbor, they could easily have attacked our mainland.
Right, right, yeah. And that's what, again, and back then, I feel like obviously times were different. Everybody's mindset was different. I guess they didn't think about anybody attacking us or attacking the country itself,
Yeah.
or invading, I should say. So knowing that after Japan did that, it probably put people, residents that were over there, just the public, and especially the military, on edge. That at
Yeah.
any given time, another country could actually invade us. That was like a new thought,
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone was like
That's
shitting their pants.
I couldn't imagine living during that time. Like there are two times, like during that time, like the initial phases of World War II when it
Mm-hmm.
started, because you didn't really, we were very like isolationist. We are like, no, that's not our problem. We'll send money to Great Britain to help
Yeah,
their
because we had
fund.
just gotten out of World War One.
Yeah, and we were just, I think, we just got hit with the Great Depression. I think we
Uh,
just started coming out of it.
yeah,
Or no, that was
and
World War One. I'm not sure.
yeah, I mean, that might have been the First World War, but
Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, like even then, like at that time, as a country and as a, I feel more too like as mainly like as a country, like we were more innocent.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It was a little more innocent back then. We people had more like respect for each other. But yeah, they were like, "Whoa, now the Japanese can actually invade us." And like you said, they
yeah.
had a very, very, I don't know if it were superior, but they had a very good navy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they were preparing for war and they were ready for war, and we didn't have that thought in our head.
Well, they had kamikaze pilots. Like when we see that, we're like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, that was just a one-way trip. I was like, "Dang,
Yeah,
dude."
they,
Yeah,
they were they were ready to die.
yeah.
I don't think we were even in that.
No, we weren't in that
We couldn't even
sphere
wrap our
of,
heads around it. Yeah,
no,
and we
no.
couldn't wrap our heads around something like that. That was like crazy.
So that just that mental game of the Japanese not only reached out and touched Pearl Harbor, they reached out and touched someplace near or in Cali.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
Red Dawn shit.
Yeah, that's yeah. Again, that's like a submarine pulling up at Ocean City or like
Yeah,
like one beach like Virginia Beach or something like that, and like shooting something off and blowing up some refinery,
yeah.
oil refinery or something
Psychological
like that.
effect is massive with that.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like also like the just like regular civilians can't imagine what it's like to be in a battle. So when
No,
something out of the ordinary, something like that, a submarine fires and all of these explosions and stuff, like it's real. Like you're gonna
yeah,
die from that.
yeah.
That it just really traumatizes them. Maybe is
Well,
that the right
I
word
feel
for it?
like it. I feel like it definitely
Shocks them.
shakes them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're like, oh, this is real. Like this is happening. It's not like
Hmm.
on TV or on the radio. This is right on the beach.
Yeah.
This is right over there. Like war. Yeah, it's over there. Like Jesus, we haven't
Yeah.
had that. And during, I would say in the history of this country, we haven't had something like that since the Civil War, where you could see like have a battle in your backyard.
Literally,
Yeah,
literally in your backyard. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah. So then on February 24th, 1942, at this time, there's a real fear going around the country that another Japanese or maybe from another enemy could launch another attack on American soil, especially on the coastal cities. The U.S. military has said that they will never be caught off guard again. It said that on these coastal cities, they have been practicing what was called blackout drills. And I didn't really know this either until I was reading this. So they had like these blackout drills. Have you ever heard of that?
no. What is that about?
So what would happen was when they would hear the air sirens, people would pull the curtains or they would actually cover their windows or anywhere the light would get out. And the whole city, all the lights would be shut off. Not just like your house,
Oh.
all the signs and everything like that, right? The whole city, all the lights throughout excuse me, all the lights throughout the city would be shut off, thus making it much harder for any bombers flying above to hit their targets. The media nicknamed LA the City of Shadows. So basically, if if there's an air raid coming and all the lights are on, they can easily tell where
Yeah.
to aim and fire and drop their bombs and everything like that. Without the lights on, they can't. They don't know where they what they're.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, especially
You
back
know,
then where flying and bombing was highly visual. Was
right,
highly visual. Like, but yeah, that's crazy. And even for submarines, like they know their ship, but like once they put that periscope up and they're like, "Where's the city?" If it's dark, if
right,
it's dark, it doesn't do shit during the day. But if it's dark, yeah,
right,
it's kind of like, what are we looking at?
right.
So,
So they apparently they would go through these drills and people were ready and they had these drills go like the air signs would go off spontaneously throughout as this was going on, so everyone was prepared for this. So when they heard it, it was like, okay, it's another drill. They're just lighting it up. All the lights would go off, and there would be no lights at all. Nothing. Like people wouldn't even go outside light a cigarette.
mhm,
I mean, just
yeah,
yeah. So they don't want to give away anything. So on the night of February 24th, 1942, it all started with typical blackout drill. Windows were covered, all lights turned off, and everyone was indoors. Even the radio stations in LA went silent.
hmm,
They didn't want to transmit anything for fear of like maybe possibly giving away a position if
yeah,
they were whatever. They just said everything, the whole city's dead. Just go dark,
yeah.
which
Wow.
to me makes sense. So at 10:23 p.m., the blackout was lifted and everyone went to bed thinking that it was just another drill. But at 2:21 in the morning on February 25th, 1942, LA residents were woken to the sound of air sirens going off and thrust into darkness yet again. It wasn't long till the searchlights were sweeping across the sky and residents came out to try to see what, if anything, the searchlights were looking for. This had a different feel to it. Whatever was going on, this was starting to feel very real. And at
Hmm.
about 3:06 a.m., all the searchlights converged onto a target over Culver City, and Los Angeles erupted in gunfire and lit up the sky.
What?
Yeah, so
They found
obviously,
something. They saw
well,
something.
that's the thing is they saw they had. I feel like they had to have seen something. There was something in there, and they had all these searchlights, and they're all in there looking around. Just, I mean, you've seen them before. How they all look around for searchlights, looking to see if there's anything. They all focused in on one target, and as soon as they did, they just started lighting up the sky. Tracer rounds, everything. It was just all over the place. They just started
That's
shooting.
nuts.
The 37th Coastal Artillery Brigade began firing 50 caliber machine guns and 12-pound anti-aircraft shells that are 3 inches long into the air at a reported aircraft. Over 1,400 shells were eventually fired. The pilots of the 4th Interceptor Command were alerted, but their aircraft remained grounded. The city is in a panic. No lights are on, just the lights from the searchlights and from the gunfire. Phone calls flooded the area's information centers with several different accounts of sightings in the sky. Some reports come in saying they can see hundreds of enemy aircraft flying overhead. There were other reports of aircrafts being shot down and crashing throughout the Los Angeles area, and many reports of several unidentified flying objects. So people were calling in saying they see these planes or they see something flying overhead. Some people saw one. Some people saw like small groups, and then some people said they saw like just a bunch of them just flying overhead.
Wow.
Then people were calling in saying that they saw or they saw aircrafts, unknown aircraft, unknown objects falling, crashing into, I guess, the
Huh.
mountainside or behind
Wow.
somewhere in LA, places in LA. So that's what people were saying. So the artillery fire continued sporadically until 4:15 a.m. when the ceasefire was called in. At 7:25, the blackout was officially lifted. Daylight brings more questions than answers. The local newspapers print many conflicting accounts of what happened overnight. Even the military can't even agree on what, if anything, was in the skies over LA overnight.
What? Oh my God.
Right. So the military can't even say, "Hey, yeah, so there was
Yeah,
something."
there was something like if you think about it, I know that there's like lots of communication breakdown, especially then when we kind of didn't we were just kind of gearing up for war, you know,
Hmm.
so there was a lot of kinks to that we had to work out as far as communication, right? There needed to be an order given to shoot. Like it's not like some idiot is on this anti-aircraft gun and be like, that seems like a good time. Let's rock and roll. Like, no, that order is given and it has to be disseminated through the ranks to shoot, to
Right.
fire,
Right. Well,
you
I
know?
mean, at this time, remember, so they had these nests set up throughout the town, throughout the city,
Hmm.
and so they were ready. And then, yeah, apparently they got the order to fire when those socialites hit whatever it is they saw. They told them fire away,
Yeah.
and they just lit up the sky.
That's absolutely crazy. To before we go down further, is I bet you, if anything, that submarine popping up in Cali was the reason that we have those watchtowers in Delaware, or yeah, Delaware. You know exactly where I'm talking about. Like on right next to Ocean City. You know,
Oh,
you
really?
see them?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we have those watchtowers, and it's
Huh.
probably
That's
because of that. I
okay.
bet you that's one of them. But yeah, no, that's absolutely crazy. That like 3 a.m. That's usually when you would schedule an attack. And honestly, I don't know. I know that the Germans did air raids at night.
Yeah.
Um,
What do they
but
call
I
it? Smoke
just
screens or something?
yeah, but that during during the night when there's no visibility, you know, you would have to imagine that those planes came off of an aircraft carrier. So that's kind of interesting. They wouldn't send their planes out at night. Usually they don't have that much gas to like fly around, hit an area, and then expect to go back to the aircraft carrier. You
Right.
know, and at that time there was tons of these guys had tons of they weren't thinking kamikaze yet. They wanted all their planes back because that way they could take those planes and go somewhere else and do the
Right.
same thing. So what did they see? That's crazy. And everyone's just
What?
like, I swear to God, it was people on flying horses or all the craziness came out of the woodwork then, I bet.
Probably. Yeah. So pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's honestly, I've never heard about this. And I wonder why. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's I don't know, man. You would think this would make more waves, you know? And we would talk about this more, especially if they lit up the sky with anti-aircraft guns, in the middle of the night or in the wee hours of the morning. And I
Right.
guess
And
maybe
over
it's
a whole
because
city,
like
right?
yeah, especially maybe it's because the time everyone's like going crazy and yeah, maybe information just didn't wasn't mass. I don't know how to say it. Like it maybe didn't reach like the east, or maybe it was just swept under the rug too quick.
I, I think it's one of those stories like it was an early one of these early type stories and everyone just kind of pushed it to the side.
Yeah,
Not
like
so
there's no
much
way
as
that's right. There's like
yeah,
there's no way.
it's like it's not it does there's like no real there's not a lot of information about it. I mean, which there isn't. It is kind of like a short story, but it's still like it I mean, this actually happened. It wasn't
Yeah,
like, oh, like maybe a handful of people said, "Oh, we saw this, but we're not sure if it actually existed or it happened." Like this actually happened. You know?
I I wonder like because that's a big deal. No one like I feel like people across the pond, you guys don't understand how big of a deal that is for anti-aircraft guns. It's probably the first. time in history that the U.S. has used anti-aircraft guns in defense on its soil, on the continental U.S.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, to wake up basically the city with
Like
that is
now,
effing terrifying.
oh my God. Well, if you were close, well, I imagine you would.
Yeah, you would hear that.
It's at night. It's the middle of the night. It's literally the middle of the night. It's pitch black. Everybody, everybody's quiet because obviously the sirens went off, so
Yeah,
everybody's in their blackout drill. So everyone's just sitting at home, or maybe going to sleep, and you just hear this loud boom, 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 and
yeah,
people are like, again, we're not used to hearing it. It's not like it happens every day. It's not like a loud truck driving by your house,
no,
honking the horn, like what it is. It's annoying, but you know what it is. These are loud booms shaking your house.
yeah,
And probably for miles, you could hear and see the flashes in the sky. You can feel it in the ground, you
yeah,
know?
easy, easy, easy. You look out the window and you'll see the tracer round just going up into the sky, into
Up into
really
the
you
sky.
near the searchlights. You're like,
Yeah.
we're obviously getting attacked right now. So let's go.
Some things there, right?
Yeah,
So oh shit, I forgot what it was. It was like 5 people did actually die. Now they didn't die because of the gunfire or planes or anything or any like objects falling down. It was pitch black, so people lost their shit.
yeah,
A lot of people stayed home. A lot of people actually got in their cars and tried to leave the city. They were like panicking. Okay, so everyone was panicking. So I think it was 3 people died in a car accident because of car accidents or something like that, and 2 people died due to basically they had a heart attack because they got
yeah,
scared shit out of them.
yeah.
So it was something like that. So 5 people actually did die because of this. There
Wow,
actually might have been some more injuries, but yeah, they had some deaths due to what happened.
that's crazy. I mean, you would assume that, nowadays, like I'm trying to think if something popped off like that, similar circumstances, right? And you would assume people would try to scramble to get out of the city, and those people are going really nowhere. It's too late. If you hear the air sirens, it's too late. You gotta,
Hunker down,
you
man. That's it.
gotta down. You're not leaving, dude. It's been that time has come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
You had your
Yep.
chance, and you're like, I have no patience. I have no patience for people. Like, the hurricane's coming. You see the hurricane. Shit's about to hit the coast. We know this thing off the coast of Africa. We're like, it's probably gonna hit. It's probably gonna hit. And by the time it gets close, miles of traffic. And I'm like, well, no shit.
Yeah. It's like, what were you guys thinking of?
Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, anyway. So that's pretty. That's interesting that it was so low. I would expect a city like, LA, any place in Cali, to have this kind of crazy attitude towards evacuation,
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I would
I
have,
think
that's
a lot
pretty
of
low.
people. I think what happened was they didn't expect people to evacuate.
Yeah,
Again, I think they were thinking if we do start, shooting, if something starts happening, you guys are just gonna have to stay because it's worse for you to drive away because really, if you're using your headlights, then you
yeah,
basically become a target. You're a moving
yeah.
target,
You're the only one with headlights in a dark
right?
city.
So you're not going to be that hard to find,
Yeah.
So it's better to stay put.
So that's pretty.
It
That's
sucks,
pretty
but
crazy. Yeah, that's pretty crazy though.
all right.
So
So the Secretary of the Navy, Frank Knox, came out and immediately said that the guns were firing at nothing. It was just a result of panic and jitters, and people were scared. That that was his statement. Like everyone just got scared. We got spooked. It was nothing. They just, the guys on the guns, they thought they saw something in the sky. They just started firing. It's nothing.
what?
But, right, but the Secretary of War, Henry Simmons, said at a press conference that there were planes present and none of them were from the United States military. So the question is, if they were not ours, then whose were they? Hmm. Then
Mm.
the theory of UFOs come into play. The most popular picture is of all the spotlights on something or some object in the sky, and apparently there was two letters to the president saying two UFOs were recovered off the coast of Los Angeles. So there is a picture. Uh, you see all the searchlights coming up, and you kind of it kind of does look like there's something in the middle, and all the
Hmm.
lights are on top of it. There's like six lights or whatever, like
Yeah,
fixed on this one target. Now, some people say it's nothing. Other people say that the picture after time has been like
distorted or altered.
it altered a little bit to make it look, I guess, change the
S-
color. And it's a
Got it.
black and white picture, but they changed the color in it to try to
Yeah,
make it find out what it is, but it made it look like there's actually something there when there's really not.
got it.
So
So it's like super far away, super far removed from the original. If you were looking at the
that's
original, you're probably like,
lights.
lights.
Supposedly, I've never seen the original. I've only seen that one picture.
And
But
I'll put it up, guys. I'll put it up. It'll
so the
pop up
picture
right
you're
here.
looking at right now, you guys can see the lights. You
Yeah.
guys can see the lights. That you see what we're talking about. But yes, that picture apparently has been supposedly has been altered just the contrast of it, so it looks like it. When you tell us what you think.
I just, dude, think about this. Okay, let's go the UFO route. Let's go
Okay.
the alien route, right? Or not even alien, UFO. It could have been any country. Hear me out on this. UFO doesn't mean necessarily extraterrestrial. That means it's unidentified. It could have been someone else's effing aircraft that we don't know that they have, or experimental or whatever have you, right? But let's say it is extraterrestrial, right? I doubt, I highly doubt that anti-aircraft weaponry would even dent something like that. Highly advanced like that. So what what did they recover? That's I'm like, that's the interesting part.
Yeah, right. The question is, if they recovered something, then what was it?
Yeah.
You know, um, right. So they supposedly they were whatever they did recover was from some unknown origin, and there was
Hmm.
two letters to the president saying that they had done this and that it's been known. Um, FDR supposedly was a believer in UFOs, extraterrestrials, and that sort. It's the rumor.
Hmm.
And included was many eyewitness reports that came in during the night of the air raid, descriptions of unusual aircraft. And as the war went on, many U.S. aircrafts would encounter many reports of UFOs. They're saying extraterrestrial UFOs because they weren't of any country's planes.
Yeah.
So where do these planes come from? Many Allied pilots began to describe being followed by strange lights over the skies in Europe, and they nicknamed them Foo Fighters. And that's where the word Foo Fighter comes from.
All right. No, like, but there's so many different things like I want to touch on. It's pretty
Yeah.
intense. Like, because we have never had, I would say, up to this point when we're gearing up for war, we had never had the military technology, right, to have seen these things before, except for individual eyewitnesses. Now you're looking at an age where we're coming into a lot of pilots using radar, using kind of a advanced technology of the time. Now we're able to see things kind of around and up in the sky. Now we're starting to see anomalies and shit. Whereas before it's Bill and Betty Yoder in the field being like, that's fucking, what
Well,
is that?
as there's been lots of stories where pilots, when they retire, have said that the things that they've seen while they were flying, but they've never said anything while they were on the job, of fear of backlash and
Yeah.
being fired, blacklisted, and all that,
Mm-hmm.
So they just kept quiet. And if they did say anything, they were like, "You didn't see anything up there.
Yep.
Just you don't know what you don't. It was nothing."
That's nuts.
Right. So after the war, I guess we were talking to the Japanese,
Mm-hmm.
and the Japanese and other countries swore they never flew any aircrafts over the United States during that time.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we went to the
See,
Japanese and were like, "Hey, so there was this incident. This happened. We saw when you like flying planes over," and they're like, we never flew any planes
like we never got that
over,
far.
never got that far in, man. So that wasn't
That's
us. And I think they
crazy.
asked them on different occasions, like, just if
Just let us
the
know.
war's over. What
War's
nothing's
over.
gonna happen. So
Yeah.
like, no, we never did. Never. They said they never flew
That's
any aircraft over the United States.
that's see now that's the crazy part. Especially since you would have thought that they would have boasted about that. Like Pearl
Yeah,
Harbor, like yeah, they got that 100%. Everyone knew what it was, but they would have probably loved to have taken credit for that shit.
I
You
feel
know?
like if an enemy during the war did do that, that they would have just dropped bombs just to say, "Hey, look, we were able to do that. We dropped bombs on you guys. There was nothing you could do about it." I mean,
Yeah,
they would have if they did that, they would have killed a bunch of people.
yeah. That's what we did to Japan.
Uh-huh.
We sent a special aircraft carrier full of long range bombers to reach out and touch Japan in retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them didn't come back because it was just too far. But yeah, they reached out and hit Japan, and that's what would I guess what is expected. So if you have kind of a similar situation, if you can psychologically mess with the country, like, hey, we can touch you, we can reach out and touch you, not just Hawaii, but your mainland, then
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
instills a whole another level of fear um to the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But no one's reaching out and claiming that they did this, which is even scarier,
Right. Because then
especially
you're like,
after the war.
right. Because you're like, well, if you didn't do it, then who did?
Like, who the fuck do
Who do we
we
blame?
light
Like
up the
who?
night for?
Right. And of
That's
course, people are always like, it was not. Again, the military was saying there was nothing. There's many eyewitness accounts saying that there was something. They saw something. They hit something. Stuff was falling out of the sky, and nothing was. But they're saying, we didn't recover anything. On other reports say they did recover stuff. So what is there to? What do we think about this?
so. I feel like for one, for a military U.S. military personnel to fire on something on U.S. soil takes a lot of orders coming down from far up the chain of command. No one just pops off anti-aircraft rounds. They
Right. So
like,
right, exactly. They can't just say, "Oh, it looks like there's something there,"
yeah,
and just shoot at it. So
it's
I
it's
believe
not a
I
it's not
think
a
they
lower
had
enlisted job. You know what I mean? It's not
no,
like
yeah,
not like, hey, private, after you're done washing the commander's vehicle, jump on this anti-aircraft gun and then just look up. Like, that's not.
and shoot at whatever you see.
Yeah, they're not doing that to a 16-year
No,
old, 18-year-old, or
no,
even 20-year
no,
old. That's not in his job.
no.
That's a higher rank. That's a higher level of, I would say, not necessarily clearance, but in terms of like order dissemination, right? You have like the 24-year-old maybe sergeant just sitting there with the anti-aircraft gun, and his higher up tells him to shoot. Like, that's
Hmm.
how it goes. So it's like a lot of people pulled the trigger that night. It
Yeah,
wasn't just the guy on the aircraft gun.
no, no, and that was my thing is, um, they had to have, uh, you know, with the searchlights going on, especially that late at night, somebody's got to be by the phone when they call and say, "Hey, look, we spot something. There's
Yeah.
something up there." They probably said, "Well, take it out."
Yeah.
Because remember, this is World War II, so they were scared that the Japanese were going to strike us again. So if they saw something in the sky, they were going to shoot at it.
Yep.
Then they weren't
Yep.
going to hesitate. They weren't going to hesitate to say,
No.
"Oh, well, just
Nope.
let's see what happens." They were like, "You see something in the sky,
Yep.
take it
You
out."
shoot it. You shoot it. Yeah, because
So,
timing was everything.
yeah, the orders
Yeah.
came in quick. You
Yep.
know, something like that has to come in quick.
Yeah, it
You know,
does.
it's not
It
like,
does.
"Oh, well, let's see what happens," or, "Oh, are you sure?" They're like, "No, you see something, take it out." So the
Yeah.
orders came in really quick.
But that's nuts. That's nuts to think about, man. That's nuts to think that like I have never heard this story. And that is a big story. That's
It,
a
it
big effing story.
it's a small story, but it is big because for UFO believers, this is like you would have to say like, this proves something. This
Yeah.
proves that there is something else, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. A military contingent does not just open up fire over U.S. soil for absolutely no reason. I'm surprised that they didn't go the training drill route. Usually, that's the quick out for the U.S. government. It's like it was a training drill that like shuts everyone up. You want something quick. Like it was a training drill. We decided we had to test the guns, something like that. Searchlights,
Mhm.
testing protocol. That's usually they're like sweep it under the rug, but
I
they
think
couldn't do that
they
because of
couldn't. I was
the
gonna say I don't think they would have been able to get away with that one then because you're on American soil. It wasn't like you're on some island, and I mean you had all these residents. 5 people died because you guys decided to shoot. Like the
and
government
you
would have
have
been held accountable for that,
and you have eyewitness reports of shit falling out of the sky.
right? Supposedly.
So so it, it just opens up a lot of questions, and I wonder if it was just maybe the time that the word didn't travel, or the government definitely at that time, because it's running a bunch of interference as far as what the media can probably put out. We had especially after Pearl Harbor, we had to rally the country behind the war effort. So
Oh, definitely.
we would never have run something that wasn't pro-war, wasn't
Hmm.
like pro-America. Like we would never have run a story that we just got attacked. That story would have died. That wouldn't have made it anywhere. Because we were
With
trying to
you.
we had to calm everyone down, and we were what is it called? Propaganda.
Hmm.
100%. 100%. Get everyone behind the war effort. We're better than everyone. That was the message then, just to kind of build up confidence, build up security in the country and in its defenses. So that story already would have died eventually. But because of the time it happened, the stuff that we were printing out about Pearl Harbor, propaganda about the war in over in the over in Europe and the
Hmm.
Pacific at that time, like that story was dead on arrival. I bet that didn't that how something catches a second wind, catches fire
Hmm.
and spreads.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have happened. There's too many eyes everywhere else, and no one was going to run that because that story wasn't going to sell. So that's interesting. I think that's interesting that not a lot of people talk about it. I never knew about that.
Yeah. It's
Never knew
it's
about that.
it's crazy. Like I said, I wish the story was a little bit bigger, but I mean, s- it's a simple story.
Well,
A lot of people don't know about it, never heard of it, and it's
well, just it opens
how
a
do you
hole.
debunk? Well, no, you can't really debunk it, but what do you say about something like that?
Well, there has to be reasons. There has to be reasons, like for the military to open up like that. There
Hmm.
has to be a effing reason, and it's not just, oh hey, we saw something, shoot it. It's probably like, oh shit, we confirm we see something, shoot it. Like that's kind of how it works. So it just opens up so many more questions that lead to massive things.
Hmm.
Not just
Hmm.
like, okay, if it was a Japanese, let's say, spy plane, they didn't have them then, but like if it was maybe a bomber or something, right? That would have made the news. That would have been, hey, we shot down a Japanese plane. Yes, it was over California, but we shot it down. Hell
Mhm.
yeah, that would have made the news. But
I
no
think
one
this
heard
made
anything about it.
I think this made like well, obviously it made the local news. You know,
Yeah,
newspapers were running it. I'm sure it was on the radio. I'm sure it was in on the TV. You know, back then too. But I think back then too, also like not a lot of people had TVs.
no,
Everybody had radios.
yeah, yeah. I wonder what happened to the reporters that reported on this. You know, like, did they all kind of end up taking showers, or they did they fall asleep in the garage with the car on? You know,
No,
I want.
I don't think this one really got to that point. You know, I think if a reporter was like really snooping around, you know, maybe the Men in
Yeah,
Black would have paid him a visit.
yeah, yeah. Because that's it's big news, man. That's big
Yeah,
news.
I
Because
mean, it's interesting though.
we did get. I think there was a report of I believe it was it a Japanese explosive they hooked to hot air balloons and it fell into a park and a family found that little bomb. They didn't know
Oh
what it
no kidding.
was, and then boom, it killed the family. And that was
Oh
like the
no.
only yeah, yeah, they hooked them up to hot air balloons and they just flung them out and the air current dropped one in a park and a family found it. I think that was like the only reported death because of a Japanese attack on US soil. Because of that.
Huh.
Yeah.
See, I never heard of that.
Yeah, oh dude, it's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
It's
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so there's some crazy stories out there, but that's pretty intense, especially when it's like the government fucking shooting the sky, man.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a big deal. Like that's
right.
psychologically that would destroy me.
But you know, again, there's contradicting reports. You know, the government saying no, it's nothing, and other parts of the government saying yeah, we shot down some shit. We
And that's
have
within the
UFOs.
government too. That's
Yeah,
within the government.
that's within
That's
the government saying that. You know, it's like gosh,
oh
and
man.
then you have like these letters to the president that describing saying that they recovered stuff. You
Oh yeah.
know, yeah,
And that's
yeah,
when we started our collection, our UFO collection. That
yeah,
was before Roswell. You
it's
know,
crazy. Yeah.
we set that up, or we got that set up, and then we're like, where are we going to put these things? And then Roswell happens. Like, okay, we're good here. That's
I
just.
think this was around the time of War of the Worlds.
Oh my god. So pandemonium. So
Yeah.
pandemonium ensued.
I think don't you know don't like
Yeah.
I'm not like putting my life on it, but I think this might have been around the time of War of the Worlds.
And so everyone's paranoia was through the roof because
Yeah.
remember, TV and movies hit different back then.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
if it was a
for those
movie,
of you who
it
don't
it
know,
was
that
it
World of
was
Worlds is
happening.
Orson Welles went on radio because everybody's listening to the radio describing how aliens were attacking, and it
It
was so at the time. That's why I'm saying, like back then, we were so innocent that back then we would listen to that and be
like
like,
it's happening.
"There, it's happening. It's
It's
really
happening.
happening right now." Yeah, like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's all. That was the era's Twitter. That was the era's Facebook. That was the era's YouTube. Was the
Right, yeah.
radio.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because nobody
eh,
sat and watched TV. They sat the family would gather around and
yep,
you know, sit down and watch the radio, you
yeah,
know? So a show would come on and they would sit there and watch look at the radio,
yeah. And
you
listen,
know?
that was like,
Yeah. Superman and
yeah.
stuff like that, and who knows whatever shows they
And
were.
then so my dude comes on. It's like the aliens are attacking. Well, shit, it's happening. It's
Yeah,
happening now.
everyone lost their minds and panic and yeah, it was crazy. And they had to come on after and say, "No, this was just pretend, people."
It's just. Oh, but by that time, no one listened to that part. Everyone was
Yeah,
already
no,
scrambling.
everybody was like trying to get out of town.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's
But
fucking
no,
crazy.
that's. I wonder, like, what would I can't even say or think what the equivalent would be today because we don't give a shit. we're so over it all
We're
that
People are so worried and more into like
trends.
trends and just like what other people are doing and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And
we can't fathom something like this.
yeah,
Like the government came out and
we'd
said,
have to
"Yeah,
actually see it. But I guess in like nowadays, yeah, you would, if something like that did happen, you would see it within seconds. You would see it
seconds."
as it was happening.
Yeah,
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 you'd
yeah.
see it as it
But at the same
happened.
time, I think we're just over it all. You know,
Yeah,
I think all of us, because even the government's like, yeah, UFOs exist, and
yeah.
look how much that changed everything.
This
Didn't
country
do
is
nothing.
the world isn't as innocent as it used to be anymore.
Yeah,
We're all just so
we're just over it. We're like, if
yeah.
UFOs exist, it
Show
doesn't
me.
care. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Even
like they
then,
were
they're
like,
like,
it didn't matter. Like that news coming out 40 years prior would have shook the whole world,
mm-hmm.
you know? But now it's like maybe on some wackadoo's news feed with a
Yeah,
tinfoil hat in West Virginia. Like maybe. He's like, do you
maybe.
see? I told you guys. Like, no one saw that shit. No one listened to
Yeah, no
that.
one cared.
No one cared. And I'm like, that's
Crazy.
nuts. That's nuts. So we've been fighting UFOs since World
Yeah.
War II, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And people saw the Foo Fighters. That's where they got the Foo Fighters from.
My Foo Fighters. Now, see, that's crazy. Like it's been that long. Well, that's
Mhm.
because we established a military presence in the skies. So we were more likely to see, we were in their domain at that point,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
see
They're
weird
watching.
stuff.
They're watching what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I want to know if there was any UFO sightings during the time we dropped the nuclear bomb. Because there's a theory out there that it's like the aliens or extraterrestrials are keeping an eye on us. If that's the theory, they're keeping an eye on us, making sure we don't overstep some shit. And there's a lot of UFO sightings near either nuclear testing sites, missile
Mm-hmm.
testing sites, nuclear silos, and stuff like that.
I've
And
heard of
so
that too, where they've had, is it that they've had, um, like, I guess they wanted to launch, or like there was almost a launch and somehow they didn't launch when they were supposed to because of,
some weird shit.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that kind of stuff. So I'm especially stuff back in the day, man. Like how do you how do you even word that kind of stuff? It's because think about this. Like, what do you use to explain what you saw to anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you, it has to be so hard to be like, there was something, don't know what it was, don't know even know what it looked like because I have no reference points, you know? A- And then what was it? Who knows? Was it a plane? Possibly. My thing is, it was probably moving effing fast. If it was a UFO, how could they track it with a spotlight when our freaking jets can't even keep up with their UFOs that they've encountered? Like that shit goes mock everything. And it
Uh,
has the capabilities going underwater into fucking space through time. And we're
yeah.
like, where is it? We're
Well,
just in this.
I think that to that extent, I think, like, what do you call it? Like they, I guess you could say, when you look at the picture, maybe that all the spotlights hit it at the right time, and the this thing just stopped and just was there.
Hovered,
And
hovered.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, because that's what it looked. That's kind of like, looks like what was going on. If you When you guys see the picture, you see, it kind of looks
yeah.
like it was just there. And I mean, whoever took this picture perfectly, really. You know,
And
at the
that's
right time.
crazy too,
And
because
that picture, and then remember, those cameras aren't like super fast.
yeah,
He has to like
yeah,
change the bulb or something. I don't know the fuck they had to do back then. Change the
there was
bulb
no
and take a
4K,
picture.
there was no
No,
resolution,
no, there
you
was no
know.
like sports,
Yeah,
button on it where it took like a bunch of pictures as it's flying away.
no, it was like boom. It's just like,
Yeah.
but my it's just so that's the kind of stuff hard. It's like you knew that stuff was around a long time. weird shit's been happening for a long time.
Long time.
Especially
Long time.
especially during like wars and battles, like weird stuff happens, unexplainable stuff happens a lot of times. And that's interesting to see, because if it was hovering and it didn't attack, the fuck was it doing? Let's say if it was just hovering over LA, and the fact that we went dark and we're looking for aircraft, how long had it been hovering? Was it always, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff that's like,
Well, now remember, the city doesn't go dark to look for aircraft.
no.
They spot. There's. I guess so. This is also the time when radar is young.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're getting a blip or something like that on the radar, and that's what
Triggered the alarm.
Yeah, that triggers the sirens and the drill, the blackout.
Interesting,
Man.
So
then that's when the searchlights go up looking for, there's something in the sky. Where is it at? And they're looking for it.
Oh,
so
really?
It's not that at like a certain time there's like a curfew and then everything goes dark and they have the searchlights up, because that's kind of silly too.
Yeah, but yeah, that would be predictable.
Right.
They're like, okay, well, don't go to LA during this time because all their lights are off. Wait till the morning. But yeah, no, that's pretty interesting, man. Like, I've never even thought of. I never heard about this. This is crazy, to be honest. Because this would have sparked my intrigue a long time ago.
Yeah.
Especially since you have conflicting fucking reports within the military. Like that's proof enough that something happened. Someone's like, we shot something down, because he probably was like, yeah, fuck yeah, we did. Fuck yeah, we did. The other guy was like, no, we didn't. No, trust me, we didn't shoot nothing down. It's like, yeah, we did, because he wants to support. He has to back up the reasoning why they ripped open the night sky with anti-aircraft guns.
Right.
He has to support his decision. So there must be evidence and there must be a reason. So he's going to support that they took some shit out of the sky. And then the higher up was like, no, there's nothing. There's nothing. We didn't do nothing. Like, that's crazy. That doesn't happen. So.
Well, yeah, it's I mean, it's an interesting story. Not gonna lie, I find it interesting. So, UFOs.
Well, it's on the podcast. So hell yeah. This is why we bring you stories that we've never heard, and we ask questions like the rest of you.
Right. Because we don't know anything.
No.
So,
no, not
but
at
hey,
all.
thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us. And now remember, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, it would actually mean a lot to us if you guys would like the video, and while you're at it, hit the subscribe button. Every little bit helps. We are trying to build a little community out here, so
yes,
every little bit helps us.
Leave a comment as well. Let us know you watched.
Yeah, we're trying to get in. Just trying to make it here on YouTube.
Yeah, trying to. One video at a time. Nope. But thanks for having me on, man. It's always a good time.
Button while you're at it, hit the like, and we appreciate it. Let's get a little community together, talk about stuff. Let us know what you think. Leave your comments. We do get back to your comments. So,
yes, we do. We should probably go live sometime soon, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. We should do another live.
Yeah, those are always fun.
Yeah, talk about something.
Yep.
But hey, thanks a lot, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, peace, everybody.
Later.
In a world of shadows and hidden truths, we search for answers, we chase the clues. A podcast of enigma.